Have you ever been so stressed out or anxious that the very thought of food just feels impossible? It's a way more common feeling than you might think. So today, we're going to dive into that fascinating and sometimes frustrating connection between what's going on in your head and what's happening in your stomach.
You know that feeling, right? You're completely overwhelmed, your mind is racing, and your stomach is in knots. Maybe you've got a huge deadline or you're just going through a tough time, and suddenly your appetite is just gone, vanished. Well, if that sounds familiar, you are so not alone. This is a very real, very physical thing that happens to our bodies. And we're about to get into the science of exactly why your body hits the brakes on hunger when you're stressed. Okay, so first things first, let's just establish how strong this link really is. This isn't some weird, rare thing. For millions of people, it's a core part of what anxiety feels like. Get this, 40 million. That's how many adults in the US deal with anxiety every single year. And for a huge number of them, one of the first things to go haywire is their appetite. Now, it can be a two-way street. Some people stress eat, for sure. But for many, many others, anxiety just completely shuts down any desire for food. So, to really understand why your appetite disappears, we have to talk about our body's ancient, hardwired survival programming. I'm talking about the fight or flight response. This is really where it all begins. At the heart of it all is this thing called the fight or flight response. The best way to think about it is like your body's internal smoke alarm. When your brain senses a threat, and it doesn't care if it's a tiger in the bushes or an angry email from your boss, this system kicks into overdrive to get you ready for action. And it all happens in this lightning-fast chain reaction. It starts with a stressor. Your body immediately floods your system with stress hormones that flips the switch on fight or flight. And here's the kicker for our conversation. Your body basically says, hey, we might need to run for our lives right now. Digesting that sandwich is not a top priority. So it slams the brakes on your entire digestive system. Let's zoom in on the hormones that are the real culprits here. You've got one called CRF, which sends a direct signal to your brain saying, turn off the hunger. Then, at the same time, another hormone, cortisol, starts working to quickly empty out whatever's already in your stomach. Your body is literally trying to make you lighter on your feet, ready to move. And as if that wasn't enough, it's not just about the hormones. That whole fight or flight state can trigger a whole list of really uncomfortable physical symptoms. I mean, think about it. When you're feeling nauseous or your stomach muscles are clenched tight, the idea of putting food in there is the last thing you want to do, right? But, okay, here's where it gets a little more complicated. Because we all know people who do the exact opposite when they're anxious. They head straight for the comfort food. So, what gives? How can anxiety cause both appetite loss and overeating? Well, a lot of it seems to boil down to how long the anxiety lasts. Remember that appetite-killing hormone, CRF? If you're dealing with chronic, long-term anxiety, you might have constantly high levels of it, which could lead to losing your appetite for a long time. But for those short, sharp bursts of stress, some people are just wired to seek that quick comfort hit from food. And this is so key to remember. Your own reaction isn't set in stone. It can totally change. The same person might reach for chips during a mildly stressful day at work, but then lose their appetite completely during a really high anxiety week. It all depends on the situation. All right, so we get the why. Now for the most important part. What in the world can you actually do about it? How can you start to get your appetite back on track when you're feeling anxious? Job number one is to calm down that overactive alarm system. Things like deep breathing, meditation, or mindfulness are so powerful because they send a direct message to your nervous system that says, hey, the danger has passed. It's safe to stand down. And when your body feels safe, it feels safe to eat. When you just can't stomach a big meal, you've got to be strategic. Focus on foods that are packed with nutrients, but are also super easy on your digestive system. Think protein smoothies, simple soups, or steamed veggies. You want things that won't add any extra stress to a system that's already on high alert. And remember this is a huge mindset shift. Consistency over quantity. You don't need to force down a huge meal. The goal is just to get back into a rhythm, to remind your body and brain what hunger cues feel like. Seriously, even just a few bites at your normal mealtime is a massive win. And of course, let's not forget the fundamentals. Good sleep and a little bit of movement are absolute game changers for managing anxiety. A regular sleep schedule and some gentle daily exercise, we're talking even just a walk around the block, can do wonders for bringing your anxiety levels down and, you guessed it, bringing your appetite back online.
Now, while all these strategies are great, it's also really important to know when it's time to bring in a professional. This is not something you have to just tough out on your own.
So here's the rule of thumb. 2 weeks. If you've had a significant loss of appetite for 2 weeks or more, or if you're losing weight without trying, that's your signal. It's time to make an appointment with your doctor.
And that doctor's visit is crucial for two big reasons. First, they can make sure there isn't some other physical issue going on. And second, if it is anxiety, they can help you come up with a real treatment plan, whether that's therapy, medication, or other strategies.
And this is exactly why that checkup is so important. Anxiety is a major cause of appetite loss, but it's not the only one. Getting a proper diagnosis is absolutely the first step to getting the right kind of help for you. And I want to leave you with a bit of hope here. This is not a permanent state of being. The amazing thing is that once you start to address the root cause, the anxiety itself, your body's natural rhythms, including your appetite, have a wonderful way of coming back to normal. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. It doesn't have to be some giant life-changing thing. Maybe it's just taking 5 deep breaths. Maybe it's making a simple smoothie instead of skipping a meal. What's one small, totally manageable step you can take for your own well-being today? Thanks for joining me.